Hello and welcome to a special pre-Summer Games Fest / fake E3 show of Starside Cafe. Starside Chat, rather. It's been a while. We took some weeks off. I'm Aaron, and with me as always is Zach. How's it going, Zach?
Good. Yeah, we had the Memorial Day weekend and like a bunch of other stuff going on. So it's been a little while since our last podcast, but I'm glad to be back.
Had to reconvene because, of course, the fake E3 season is upon us. On this coming Friday, we'll have Summer Games Fest live, or I forget how they talk about it. Is it the live show?
It's like
or
opening night live is what they call it.
Yes, opening night live. Saturday, there's a smattering of shows, which we'll probably talk about. And then Sunday is the Microsoft show. And, of course, also this week, this launch of the Switch. It's a big week coming up.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the Switch 2. Possibly, most likely, if they hold up their end of the bargain, I will have a Switch 2 in my possession that we can talk about next week.
Now, you pre-ordered. I was unable to pre-order. I tried, but not hard enough. And I couldn't get one, so I have loose plans to... There are a couple places that I think are doing midnight launches, but I can't tll if they're just for, like, what the stock is, basically. If they'll just have enough for the people who already pre-ordered or what's going on. So
yeah, we need an insider like we had for the Switch 1.
I know. So I have some loose plans. There's a strip next to me that has a Best Buy, a Target, and a GameStop. And so I might try to go to one of those midnight launches. They're all right next to each other, so I could just drive around the same parking lot. And then launch day, if that doesn't work out, I've heard rumors that Costco's will have Switch 2 bundles that you cannot pre-order. They're just going to be there on launch day. So I live next to two-ish Costco's that are not super far away from me. So I could try to do that as well, but we'll see. I mean, by next podcast, we'll know if I have a Switch, but it remains to be seen. Hopefully I do.
Yeah, a very exciting time because of obviously new console, but Summer Games Fest stuff. So I don't know how you want to handle this, diving into that, or do you want to go through some? It would be a little bit older news now, but if you want to knock out some of that.
Yeah, let's go through some stuff that we missed because there were some big things that happened. Probably the biggest thing that happened while we were away was GTA 6 got delayed to May 26th, 2026. So we're not going to be playing it this year. This really opens up the Game of the Year conversation because everyone assumed, I think, that GTA 6 was going to be a big contender for Game of the Year, and now it's pushed to 2026. So...
yeah, what's gonna fill the gap?
I still believe with all my heart that Silksong will come out this year. Yeah. Even though that was another weird article you sent me. We didn't put it in our show notes, but Silksong is going to be playable at a museum in Australia in August.
Yeah,
which is weird, and I don't know what that means, but I guess look forward to that at least.
Does that mean it's not going to be out by August, but you get like a preview of it, or it'll be out and it'll be playable there? I don't know.
Two other things that I think are going to be contenders this year, of course, are Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza are both coming out this year. So,
well, and I'm going to throw out Expedition 33. It's been such a hot release, and everybody's talking about it. So I really suspect that could be the biggest contender.
They're calling it
Game of the Year.
The year of AA games.
Yeah, it's interesting. So like you got these big companies like Ubisoft was even touting like the last Assassin's Creed release is like a quadruple A or whatever. Yeah. And you've got these big triple A games that are just like flopping hardcore. And then here comes this like smaller studio releasing a game that wasn't even like super hyped when it came out. And people are loving it. So
Blueprints is another one that is people would describe as AA. I mean, also like Silksong as well is a very small team. And a game we're going to talk about in a second, Hell Is Us, which has had previews this past week, is also like 55 people, I think. So there are these like small, more sustainably made games that are knocking people out of the park. And I don't know, maybe it'll make some changes in the industry.
Now, I have not heard anything about Elden Ring Night Rain, but supposedly that comes out soonish. When is that?
I have
out?
heard some negative stuff about it, actually.
I was going to say, I thought I had seen somebody say they were a little bit disappointed by it, so I'm not sure what to think about that game.
It's not really on my... I'm not really a Souls guy, so I don't think I'm going to check it out. But well, I've heard some stuff where it's bad to play single player.
Oh, see, that was the thing. I was going to say, like, maybe I would be into it if it were more of a single player thing, but because it's built around co-op a little bit more, I probably won't end up playing it. But like, people love FromSoft so much that maybe it would get a mention end of the year stuff. But
let's talk about Hell Is Us for a second. We can kind of jump around on this. Did you watch any of these previews? Because I watched like 3 of them. There was an Easy Allies one where they talked through it, and I linked to the IGN one.
I did not know.
This is that game where it's set in a weird time. It's kind of like the 90s, but also there's some high sci-fi stuff. Some people in the previews were talking about how they took a lot of inspiration from games like Metal Gear, where Metal Gear often is like a period piece, but there's like high sci-fi elements to it. I was watching the Easy Allies talk about it on their podcast, and they described it as kind of like that Atomfall game meets Elden Ring, sort of, where there's some inscrutable quests you kind of have to figure out, and it's got like the talking to people element of Atomfall, and just like the vibe kind of like vaguely European-esque setting, but then it is sort of open world, like Elden Ring. Has Souls-like combat, sort of. And all the enemies are just, like, very weird looking. They're kind of these, like, dancing white things that... They were talking about how the parrying is a little... I mean, it's the year of parrying, because Claire Obscura is also all about parrying. But this parrying, I guess, is a little more difficult because the enemies just move so oddly. It's hard to telegraph what they're doing. But... what do you think of this? Are you watching the footage right now?
I am watching it. Yeah, I didn't know what to make of this game in like the previous trailers they had released, and I was like not sure if it was something I was going to be into, but like watching some of this open world footage of them running around and, you know, pulling out their giant sword and all that, it's like, oh, maybe this is going to be a little more up my alley than I thought it would be.
It's also interesting because another thing that I forget if this was on the IGN one or if it was in that Easy Hours I was watching, but it's the small team, and the people who made it, like they just finished working on like 2 big RPGs, and so for this project they were like, we don't super want to do like stats and RPG stuff because we're just tired of it. So your character doesn't really level. There's not really a skill tree. It's more your weapons that level. So you can level up specific weapons and maybe skills, but the RPG elements are very light in this. It's more of a hack and slash, I think, with like obviously dialogue elements. But is that interesting to you, or do you crave those numbers going up?
I mean, I do like the numbers going up, but I think you can make that work with like leveling up weapons as well. Because I've played games like that before as well, where you don't have like the traditional RPG mechanics where you're like putting stats into like your health and defense and agility or things like that, and instead you're sort of leveling weapons as you go, and I think that can be like a good trade-off. So
I think I'm gonna check this out.
Oh yeah, when does this come out?
That's a good question. Do they say in this? I think it does have a release date. I don't think it's... Hold on. Coming out on... September 1st.
Well, there you go. First game of fall?
Possibly, yeah. And then the big fall season.
Always
I'll probably still be playing
time.
Donkey Kong Bonanza because that comes out in July.
I was going to say, I'm sure we'll still be riding the high of the Switch 2, but
something else to keep an eye on for sure. And then another thing that happened while we were away, Gears of War Reloaded is coming to PS5, which is kind of crazy. It's like, I feel like the penultimate thing with Xbox stuff coming to other consoles. I feel like this is going to finally be like it when Halo comes to PS5.
Yeah. In the sort of X post, there was a commenter who posted like a photoshopped image of like a PS5 case with like Halo the Master Chief Collection on the cover, and I was like, yeah, that's sort of the final straw, there, where
it's still crazy that Gears is coming though.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's one of those franchises that you never thought you would see on a console other than an Xbox, but I guess it was a matter of time until it happens. Now, whether they come out with like a new Gears of War, and I'm sure it'll be like a timed exclusive, but I don't know. They're running out of exclusive reasons to own an Xbox.
So here's the other thing that happened. Microsoft raised prices on their consoles. Yeah,
that was a weird one. Although I suspect the others will follow suit. Maybe not Nintendo because it's so new, but like...
Yeah, they won't have time to. It'll just be there.
But like, did PlayStation not, or maybe did they lead the charge on that? I mean, I guess the PlayStation 5 Pro is like so absurdly expensive already.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I do think this is cool that Gears of War is going to be playable on PS5. There's like always the two sides of it, right? There's the side where you're like, why is this exclusive now being available on your competition? But also, as like somebody who spends more time playing games on my PS5, like just to, I guess, have those available is kind of a cool thing. But or for people who have maybe always wanted to play them but have just been like loyal to PlayStation, now they have the option. But that's only that. I guess the logic only works if it's reciprocal. Like start putting PS5 stuff on Xbox.
Yeah. Otherwise, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay. It's time to talk about Summer Games Fest, and I guess more the Microsoft one as well. The whole weekend, rather. But predictions for Summer Games Fest. Keighley has said this year they have 60-plus partners for that showcase, including Nintendo, which is kind of a big deal because the last couple of years they have kind of sat out the Summer Games Fest season. And so we might be getting, it seems likely that we'll get some Nintendo content in Keighley's show. But just like big takeaways, is there anything should we do like confident? They do that on the MinMax show. They do like super confident bets, and then like kind of maybe could happen, and then off the wall. Do you have anything that you're super confident we're going to see at Summer Games Fest or the Microsoft show?
An easy one is we'll see some Death Stranding 2 stuff. Because
there's going to be...
They just set the release date for June 26, right?
Yeah, and I think, isn't Keighley doing a special, 2-hour thing with Kojima where he's, sitting down with him and talking about it?
Oh, he probably is. I don't know. I'm so out of the loop these last couple of weeks that maybe I'm, predicting something that's, already known. But... But yeah, I for sure that we'll see that. It's probably the safest bet there is at this point. What do you have for a safe bet?
I think that, I don't know how safe this is, but the thing I keep thinking about, and I don't know why I think this is so going to happen, is I think it was last year we got that extended gameplay of Perfect Dark. I don't remember if it has a subtitle or subheading. But I feel like that would be something for the Microsoft show where they could show another extended gameplay thing that wasn't as cinematic, because there was some stuff in that past one where it was okay, this is clearly pre-rendered and this is not how the game is going to work. But I could see that being a big tentpole for them. Here's something I think will not happen. I don't think we're going to get any Halo stuff this year. Even though it's been a little bit of time, I think they are not sure what they're going to do with it, and they're still supporting Halo Infinite.
Yeah, and I think they're probably closer to another Gears game than they are another Halo game.
I think so too. Although from Nintendo, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a trailer for something that we haven't seen yet. Something, I don't know, and that's not necessarily first party, but something where it's like Nintendo branded and it's like a big deal. Like they did that crossover where they had those guys make that Star Fox game, and they had that like accessory you could buy that was like a physical Star Fox toy or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't remember if that was Ubisoft or not.
I think it was, yeah.
But something like that, I think, where it's third party. It's not necessarily. It's like under Nintendo, but not necessarily by Nintendo. I also
it's like a license thing.
Thing I wanted to ask you is, do you think a celebrity will be on stage at Summer Games Fest?
Yeah, I think that's another like safe bet at this point. Keighley always tries to get like somebody that's like off the wall and wouldn't make sense to be there. Like when they had Pacino on stage.
That was great.
I'm sure there will be somebody. Hopefully, it's like Matthew McConaughey comes out to like do another preview of that one game by the the
that space game.
Yeah, the ex-BioWare devs, and he's like, "Hey, I'm in this game. This time, here's a trailer where I'm in it." I don't know. He does something like that.
What if it's like who else could it be? I feel like he always tries to get someone zeitgeisty, who's like been in a big movie recently. Because Tom Cruise came out. Timothée Chalamet would be crazy, yeah. Again, I guess he's already been there.
I was going to say, that one's like a little bit, expected almost. So maybe he goes a little more off the wall.
Now, just to say it, just so I can be confident that I did say it, I think it's possible that we're going to get a Silksong release date at Summer Games Fest.
At this point, like, it's been teased so much that it's coming out this year that the only thing
also, people always, whenever he does streams, he's always like, oh, I know, everybody wants Silksong. So that's like the next thing that was the Elden Ring they kept asking him about. Yeah. So he's aware that it's a good get if he gets it.
The only thing left for him to do is to give us a release date at this point.
I know.
And I like you, I almost suspect that this time around they won't do a shadow drop and they'll just be like, hey, we want to take advantage of like the hype around this and get some physical releases out there. So yeah, is that a prediction that there will be physical releases of Silksong at launch? It won't just be a digital thing? Because I don't remember when Hollow Knight came out. Was that digital only at launch?
Yeah, well, it was a Kickstarter game. They didn't know it was going to be so big. I don't know if it's going to get a physical, because also like Nintendo's doing this kind of dumb thing that I don't like, where they're doing those game cards where the game isn't even on the card, which I am not super into.
Yeah, nobody is.
And I could see, I mean, I think the main reason that's happening is because they have a limit. I think like there's like a 60 gigabyte limit or something on how big a game can be on a game card. So if you're a third party and your game exceeds that, basically your only option if you want a physical release on Nintendo is to do a game
surely card. Silksong will not exceed that.
No, yeah. I would say it will probably be vastly under that, so that's not going to be an issue.
So it could probably still get a physical release, like an actual one, and not a game cart release. But
I mean, for sure they're going to do a special edition because they know people want it. But they could also try to get people to double dip, which I can see them doing.
I can see them doing that too. Another one, we'll probably see Witcher 4 because they've already shown some stuff with that.
I forgot we had that trailer, yeah.
So we'll see that most likely during Summer Games Fest. Arc Raiders, I know like that's been out there and playable for some people, so they'll probably get more of that. And actually, I think Arc Raiders looks much more interesting to me than Marathon. Yeah,
Marathon, I keep getting TikToks of people being like, Marathon is going to fail.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know if they're going to release like roughly at the same time, but like Arc Raiders could very easily just like eat Marathon's lunch, basically.
Have they?
We'll probably see both of those, actually.
Is Devolver doing their thing this year, or have they talked about that at all?
Let me see. So Summer Games Fest has the schedule rundown, like their website.
Because Devolver is a partner in the Summer Games Fest. But so I don't know if that means they're not doing their Devolver Digital show they always do, or if they're just going to roll it into this.
That's a good question, actually. I mean, would their exclusive thing be like added to the list of Summer Games Fest schedule events, or is that just like a...
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it is kind of like a third-party slam dance type of thing, so I don't know. I mean, they did that funny thing last year or the year before where it was a showcase of all the games that are getting delayed, which I thought was funny. But yeah, they usually produce a little like live-action thing with the same actors, so...
Yeah.
I wonder if they're
I'm
not
sure
doing
they'll.
that this year.
I would almost bet that they will do it, even if it's not like showing up on this like schedule that they have on the Summer Games Fest website. But.
What about this? We got a very short cinematic last year for that James Bond game from the makers
I was
of
going to
Hitman.
say that. Yeah, I think it would be such a cool reveal to see some stuff from that James Bond game that they're doing. From the
Surely,
Hitman
do you think
team.
it'll be third party? Or it's not third person, or do you think it'll be first person?
That's a good question. Ooh. I mean, flip a coin. I would bet third person just because the Hitman games are third person. And so it's easy.
Here's the real question. What's he going to look like? Is it going to be...
Will it be Daniel Craig or...
will it be Daniel Craig? And they could go back. I mean, they could make it the Sean Connery. I mean, it also depends on what era it takes place in.
That's true. Like, there's so many questions. Like, would they do... Like, you remember that From Russia with Love game that came out in, like, the 360 generation or something like that? Where they actually got Sean Connery to, like, voice the character, and they made it look like him during the From Russia with Love era. Like, what if they did something like that?
I would be into that. A period Bond would be pretty cool because you get all the cool old gadgets and stuff as well.
Yeah. I feel like they won't do that, but that would be like very cool to see as well.
Yeah, they could do a super modern one would also be great. I wonder how, because like it's a similar thing. I mean, it's a perfect fit for the team that was making Hitman games because it is all just about like sneaking around and stuff. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes perfect sense to get that team to do it for sure. Will there be multiplayer in it? Or will it just be single player?
That's a good question. Is there multiplayer in the Hitman games?
I don't know. I wonder if they have like some form of like... It's probably just like leaderboard type stuff, like challenge your friends to do it faster or better or in a different way. I wonder if they'll just have something like that.
Do you think we will get... Hold on. This has maybe already been confirmed before I say this.
Well, I can say something while you're looking that up. Xbox is, like, they confirmed they're going to do a deep dive on the Outer Worlds 2.
Yes, that's the thing that's happening directly after, right?
Yeah. So they have
Last
that
year was,
in the schedule already.
Was it Starfield? That's like the thing, because they always do like and there's an after show where they're focusing on a specific game, because they did that with Starfield like 2 years ago, and I forget what it was last year. But yeah, that's the one they're focusing on this year.
So yeah, for sure we'll get to see Outer Worlds 2 more, which I'm excited about. I liked the first one, so I will probably
who we
play
haven't really heard
one.
from is, once again this year, PlayStation doesn't seem to be doing anything. Yeah,
I don't, like... Are they gonna, I guess, maybe do their own thing and it's just sort of unannounced, or
I don't know. I mean,
did they completely skip it last year? I don't remember what happened last year.
They are a partner in Summer Games Fest, so it's possible they'll have first party stuff at Keeley's thing, but they don't have their own official show maybe they're just never gonna do it again, which is kind of crazy. But
yeah.
We'll get probably some PlayStation exclusive stuff at Summer Games Fest or opening night live. But
now here's a wild thing to think about. What if like Microsoft or Sony like reveals an upcoming game that they're in charge of on like one of the other person's showcases? So like if Sony had a game show up in like an Xbox showcase.
That would be crazy.
I mean, we live in a
like,
world now where that's possible to happen. It probably won't.
There was an Uncharted collection or something.
Yeah.
That would be weird. Oh, we could see more of whatever Naughty Dog is working on, that space thing where you have a laser sword.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That could be something we see.
You could see that. What is the fantasy game Microsoft has? Fable, the next Fable game.
Ooh, yes, that could definitely make an appearance. That's something where, how many years ago was that where we had that CGI trailer with
Richard
all those...
Ayoade was in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like 2 or 3 years ago, I feel
like it was a long time ago. Now, Fable
would be a good get.
Here's a crazy wild card prediction. Actually, my prediction is that it won't happen because this game is like vaporware. But Ubisoft shows off Beyond Good and Evil 2 again.
Now, that would be truly wild because that's been... I don't even think we've heard a peep from that developer for like 8 years or something.
We have not. It's been... I think it's vaporware at this point. It's probably never happening. But somebody in some back room somewhere is working on it, supposedly.
Do you think we'll at all get anything related to GTA 6?
Oh, that's a good question. Since they delayed it, but do they want to show more of it? We got
the trailer. Which, by the way, what did you think of the trailer they released with the delay announcement?
I thought it looked cool. I mean,
I did too.
I'm going to play it when it comes out.
It looks good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very curious to see, like, I really want to see some actual gameplay. And if they delayed it for a full year, I almost don't think they will show us any at this point.
The rumor is, this is what I heard, and who knows if this is true or not, but the rumor that I heard is the single-player game is completely done and bug-tested and ready to go, and they're delaying it a full year solely to work on multiplayer stuff because GTA 5 has had this huge life, this huge tail because of the like extensive multiplayer stuff. And so famously, it didn't launch with multiplayer, GTA 5. That was like a thing that happened later down the line. And so I think whoever the higher ups want to be extra sure that they're predicting that like there's going to be a large group of people that don't want to engage with the single player of GTA 6 at all. And so they want the multiplayer component to be super dense and packed with content like from day one. So it's possible that they could show a bunch of single player stuff, but I don't know that they will. I mean, we got the trailer, so I think they're just gonna... Also, I think I heard like a comment from like some higher up at Rockstar that was like, we don't really care about showing stuff before it's ready, so you're not really going to see anything until it's ready. So it's possible we won't... I mean, I think it's likely that we won't see anything from GTA 6.
Yeah, especially since they just delayed it. Maybe if it was still due to like come out, they would do like a gameplay reveal of some sort, but...
They should have held it. I mean, I guess they like controlled the conversation by just releasing it at a random time. But I think they probably would have had more eyes on it if it was on Summer Games Fest.
Do you think we'll see Marvel's Wolverine, or is that going to be like a they'll do like an exclusive like state of play? Here it is.
That's a good question.
I don't know how far that
that's a high caliber PlayStation game. So I don't know. I mean, they don't really do big states of play anymore. I mean, they do, but they don't like put them at this time of year. So it's a good question. I mean, I don't get I get like wanting to control the narrative and being the only thing in the news cycle, but also like there's something to be said for like winning Summer Games Fest, you know? Well, like there's going to be the articles where like this, like Xbox won Summer Games Fest or whatever. And they're really the only people that are trying, unless Nintendo does something crazy.
I think they're just all in on Death Stranding 2 at this point. So they don't really have a lot of interest in showing other stuff. Like that's sort of their big tentpole game for this year. Unless I'm forgetting something.
I mean, Fable maybe down the road.
Well,
or no, you're talking about PlayStation.
Yeah, I was talking about Sony. So I don't know what else they've got other than...
Yeah, I don't know. And they've got that thing Naughty Dog's working on, but who knows how far along that is.
Who could say how far out the next Horizon game is, but that would be something they got in the works, but I would guess not yet. Here's another little bit of a wild card, but what about the next Persona game? Like, do you think they would tease Persona 6, or are we too close to whatever the last one was from that
5?
team? No. What was that? It was like a fantasy Persona game, but it wasn't Persona. It was
Fantasy Refantasia.
Yeah, that came out just last year, right? Is that the same team? So maybe
I think so. Yeah.
Maybe they're too delayed because of that. But
what about a new Resident Evil game?
Interesting. Yeah, I know. Capcom's gonna be there, so
here's a big thing that I haven't talked about yet. This was months ago. I talked about how there's a guy with a YouTube channel who is like crazy confident that Half-Life 3 is happening and is finishing development and will be released imminently. Who knows if this guy is insane or not, but wouldn't it be crazy if Half-Life 3 was at Keighley's thing? That would be, I think, an even bigger get than Silksong.
Yeah, it would be for sure. That would be,
and I don't know,
that would be crazy.
If it would be, I don't know if it would be like VR exclusive, because obviously Half-Life Alyx was a big deal, and I don't know if they want to stay that way or if they're going to go back to.
What if they did a second orange box where they had Team Fortress 3 and the next Half-Life game?
That would be insane.
That would blow everyone's mind.
I watched a little bit of those videos that the guy made, and it does really make you think that it is viable and Half-Life 3 is actually being worked on. But I guess we'll find out. That would be great. I love Half-Life and Half-Life 2. And I didn't play Half-Life Alyx because I don't have a VR setup that could handle it, but I did watch a full playthrough of it, so I know all of like the story beats that happen in Half-Life Alyx. That was a great game, even though I didn't play it.
Yeah, I heard really good things about it. You think BioShock 4 will be there?
I could see, what's that thing that Ken Levine is making that like
oh yeah,
Jeremiah, does it start with a J?
Something like that. What is that?
His thing will probably be there. I don't remember what it's called.
It's called not BioShock.
Ken Levine's game. Hold on. Judas.
Oh yeah, it does start with a J. Judas.
I could see a gameplay for Judas being there, and I mean, I guess I could also see a new BioShock. It's been forever since Infinite came out.
Well, and isn't I don't know if it's just a rumor, but I thought BioShock 4 being in the works was like confirmed, but maybe it's not.
Maybe you're right. Here's something that's in the works. Light No Fires.
Ooh, yeah. So that would be, I'm definitely looking forward to that. So I'd be super excited if we get some degree of gameplay for that.
I still don't really understand what you're doing in that game.
I know. That's why I want Sean Murray to come out there and be like, hey, check it out. This is what the game is. Here's, like, overhype it the way he likes to do. But that would be awesome.
What else? I've Googled things that might happen at Summer Games Fest, and I'm going down a list. We've talked about most of these already. We talked about The Witcher, Persona 6 you just mentioned, Resident Evil 9 I talked about. I think we've hit most of the major things that could happen that people are predicting.
Yeah, I think we've touched on the big ones. We could, like, the wild, crazy out there ones are like Bloodborne remake or Bloodborne 2 or something like that. Anything related to Bloodborne. Or Half-Life. We already talked about that one, though.
Project 007, which I don't even know if we have an official name for that James Bond. I think it's just called Project 007 right now.
Yeah.
There's supposedly a Deadpool VR game that's in the works.
Isn't there a Crazy Taxi reboot happening as well?
That would be, man, I would love to see that. I think we have maybe predicted all there is to predict going down this list.
Oh, what about that new Far Cry game that's been rumored for a long time? And we had like some rumors about what it was going to be and how it was going to be different.
Yeah, that's right. It was, didn't we had like a prediction for where it was going to be, didn't we? Like a setting?
Yeah, and how it was going to be almost roguelike, maybe? Or
yeah,
I forget what the prediction was. Or the leak.
Yeah, you were going to reset. I don't remember where that was going to be set. But I would love to see that. I'm watching, this is not what we're playing and watching right now, but just to give a little tease of that. I've been watching an old show that I used to watch. I'm rewatching it called Person of Interest. Do you know what that is?
Oh, I remember you talking about this. Yeah.
And there was an episode of like Gamer, and he was playing Far Cry 3. And I was like, man, I loved to play Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4 were two games that I could not stop playing, and I beat. And I didn't 100% them, but
I was going to say, I never did play Far Cry 3, but I loved Far Cry 4.
5 really turned me off of it because it would do those things where it locked you into missions when you got to new areas. And I was just not into that. And also the ending of it, I did beat it, but the ending of it, really turned me off. Mm-hmm. And then I never played was it like Central America one? Or were you in Cuba or something? The one where you could have like a dog that had a wheelchair. I never played that for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah.
Far Cry 6.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, Far Cry 6. Yeah, I didn't play that one either.
I think the main mechanic of it was just uninteresting to me. It was like jetpacks or like backpacks that did different things. Was just like, I don't know what's going on here. But I would play another Far Cry for sure if they had a good setting and it didn't railroad you.
Honestly, I just want them to revisit Blood Dragon, like that setting, and do like
that would be cool.
Like, because that was sort of like a spin-off, smaller release version of like a Far Cry. If they did expanded on that and did like a full, like big Blood Dragon, but it does not seem like they're going to do that. So
to me, that's a no-brainer to do. But yeah, for whatever reason, they have decided they are not interested in doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Should we move into what we're playing and watching? Because I have some stuff to talk about.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, firstly, let's have a little sit down about Doom: The Dark Ages, because both of us are playing it. I'm loving it. I think it's great. I believe I am on chapter 10 or 11, which I think is halfway. I think there's 22 chapters.
Yeah.
I am in a forest right now. I'm in, I think, like the Twisted Forsaken Forest or something. I've not collected all the weapons yet, but how are you liking it?
I've been enjoying it. I really like there's like so many different sort of accessibility features.
Yeah.
You can customize the difficulty and everything. We were texting a little bit about it, and both of us were like, yeah, the one tweak we like made sure to do was like to expand the parry window to like maximum. Yeah,
it's so nice.
Which is great. But yeah, it doesn't feel, maybe it's because of, I don't know if it's the parry window thing, but it doesn't feel, at least so far, it does not feel as challenging as the last two, I thought.
I agree. I will also say that what difficulty are you playing it on?
I think I'm playing on normal, but I just like turned the parry window up.
Yeah. I'm basically doing the same thing. I find myself running out of ammo a lot, and it's maybe I just need to be meleeing people more.
Oh, that was the other tweak I did, was to like add more drops so that I could, because that's another feature in the settings where you can like turn up the amount of drops you get so that
I didn't even know you could do that.
And so basically I never really worry that much about ammo. I guess I've run out of ammo a couple of times before, but I always have enough for my other weapons that it's not a big deal.
I find switching weapons to be a little clunky, if I'm being honest.
It is, because it slows down time when you bring up the weapon wheel, but not enough. And like you can hit the button to just like hot swap between your last two weapons, but
it's not responsive enough, I don't think. Yeah. I feel like I have to hold the button down, and then I can't immediately move the joystick to the weapon I want. I have to wait like a beat.
Yeah.
And then I can move it to the weapon, which if it was a thing where I could just hold down the shoulder button and immediately select something very quick and snappy, I don't think it would feel as bad. But there is that weird delay where like if you do it fast enough, nothing happens. And then you have to like re-zero out the joystick and like move it again, and then you can select it. And then the thing this time is that every weapon has like a second weapon basically. And so the weapon wheel is smaller, but that means if you want, let's say you want like the super shotgun, but your thing, like the last gun you used in that slot was the regular combat shotgun and you're on something else, you have to hold the shoulder button down, wait a second, move the joystick to the combat shotgun, and then press X if you're on Xbox, or I guess you have to be, then it
long press
swaps
reload
over.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Not
is a little
ideal,
clunky.
I think.
Well, and there's another clunky thing about the game that I was getting annoyed with was like every time you're in a new level and they introduce anything new to you, the game comes to a halt to like bring up this thing where it's like, here's a bunch of text to read through. This is what you're going to do now. I don't know. It's like the game doesn't trust you to like figure it out.
We're saying a lot of negative things about it. I do like it, but I also will say the weapons are not my favorite. There's one I have never used, and it is the like spike impaler. I don't know, maybe I need to upgrade it so it will be easier or better to use in some circumstances, but it seems to not have a point, and ironically, and I never swap to it ever.
Yeah, I use the other one because I at this point I've already put an upgrade into the like regular like spike shredder, which is like a machine gun basically, and so when I shoot enemies with that, they start to glow, and when I throw my shield at them, they explode for like area of effect damage. So like I don't know, like the slower firing but higher damage one that is supposed to be, I guess, kind of like a sniper rifle, but without a scope. I don't know. It just doesn't seem as useful to me, but
I agree. I like the cannonball weapon. I think that's cool. But again, I'm not swapping to it super often because I only have 12 shots with it. And it's like I have to like single in on one target. It's so much easier to have. I feel like I mostly hang on the plasma gun or like the combat shotgun because the super shotgun just fires too slowly, which is it's like in 2016 when I got Doom 2016 when I got the super shotgun in that, it was a joy to use. I would not swap away from that for a lot of the game because it was just so fun to use. And this one I'm like rarely using the super shotgun just because it's so clunky to use. And I like did all the upgrades on it or whatever. To make it like a reload faster and whatnot, but I don't know. The weapons I think are a weakness of this game for whatever reason because they have all these weird mechanics you have to do. I am liking it though. I'm going to continue to play it. But I do still think 2016 is maybe the best Doom.
Yeah, and I like pulling out the menu and being like, okay, here's like a collectible thing I can go find, which it maybe makes it feel a little bit like too easy to like find all of them, where I feel like past Doom games it would just be like, well, find it, or if you missed it you'll have to look it up. But
playing it,
yeah, this game it's like, here it is on the menu, go find it.
I like at the end of every level they give you like the slow, here are all the things you did, and it like slowly adds up. Which is good if you did find a bunch of stuff, but if you didn't and you only got like 50%, it's not as good. But
well, how did you feel about like the sort of Pacific Rim style mechs levels?
I don't think it was necessary.
Yeah,
I also
a bit much.
I didn't really care for the dragon riding.
Yeah, the
either.
dragon flying ones.
I don't know that we needed that. It's obviously very cool to look at.
They're trying to,
and like as a concept,
switch up the gameplay. I get it, but
yeah, unnecessary. I feel.
Yeah, the mechs, like it sort of feels like you move into like fighting game mode because you're like dodging and punching or whatever. I don't know. I didn't love the dragon flying chapters though, I have to say.
Yeah, because a lot of one thing, and I don't know if you had this problem, but one of the like extra bonus tasks you were tasked to do was like track down 3 of these like flying ships and get rid of them.
Yeah.
And then you get like 50 gold at the end. And I could not find the last one. And so I was just flying around aimlessly for a long time. And eventually I was like, whatever, I give up. And then I went to the next checkpoint where you have to like go under the city. And it was there, which like was not telegraphed to me. But I thought I was going to like lose my ability to get back. Because sometimes the symbol when you go to another place will be that like door symbol. And that means you're about to like leave this area forever.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to leave the area forever before I found this last thing to get my gold. But it turned out it wasn't even there. So I don't know.
I didn't even bother tracking them. Like I got 1 or 2 of them just because I saw them. And I was like, oh, I guess I'll take care of this. And then I just like never even bothered with. I just kept advancing through the level and must have missed it, I guess. But for other levels where I'm like on foot, I would always bring up the map to try to like make sure I'd found all the collectibles before I left the area. But yeah, otherwise I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun playing it.
I'm as well. It's a great time.
I definitely think it is, at least so far. Maybe it will like really impress me later on, but I think I prefer the previous 2 to this one so far. But.
Yeah, I agree. 2016 is just it's almost a perfect game to me. There's like no fat on it. There's a very clear story. There's not a lot of jumping around or like things you have to juggle. It's just very clear, like, this is what this is. I've said this before, but Doom Eternal had too many plates you were trying to spin at once and keep in the air with all like the different things you had to do. Your 2 different like shoulder launchers or whatever that did different things. And this one I think it's good because it got rid of all the spinning plates, but it just I don't know. There's some things I wish they would have done differently, but overall I'm liking it. We've been very negative on it, but I think it is a good game.
I think overall we're mostly positive on it, but there are some like reasons to sort of nitpick, I guess. But
I have another thing I want to talk about, but before we get into it, because I think it'll be a long discussion, what have you been playing and watching?
Mainly just Doom: The Dark Ages, and I haven't returned to Expedition 33, but I want to. I also want to return to the Oblivion remake. There's like a lot to play right now, and I just haven't had time to get into it. But there is a new season of Taskmaster that they're releasing episodes for each Friday, and I've been watching that, and it has Jason Mantzoukas is on it as one of the people who's participating in it. So it's been fun to watch those episodes. But
Zach, I have started watching Taskmaster.
Oh, did you? Oh man,
I took your advice. I am watching the Jason Mantzoukas season or series rather. And
season,
I Googled like best Taskmaster seasons to watch, and I watched, I believe, season 5 because everyone said that was a good one to watch, and it was great. And we're probably gonna watch another series after we complete that.
I am desperately trying to get more and more people hooked on the show because I love it and I can't stop watching it. But
it's great.
But there's, I think it's season 10 maybe that has what's her name from the IT crowd is in it.
Oh, Jen?
Yeah, Jen. And
maybe we'll watch that one next.
Johnny Vegas becomes one of my favorite characters on the show just because he's like so funny. So that was a fun season. And then there's the season, I can't remember which one it is, but it's got what is his name? Dara O'Brien, I think, is on it, and obviously other people that I'm blanking on their names, but that's a fun season. And then I just watched, I think it was season 18 was the one before it, or series. You have to say series. But that was a fun one as well. There's a bunch of really good seasons in there, and they also have like a podcast where they talk about it. They sort of recap episodes and talk about stuff that happened on it. So their YouTube channel is just like chock full of like Taskmaster related content. Yeah. And it is awesome that it's free. So I highly recommend it.
Zach, I took a trip this past week to a place that I wonder if you've been to. I think it is a somewhat well-known place, but I'm curious to know. It's in Wisconsin. Have you ever been to Wisconsin?
I have been to Wisconsin.
Have you been to House on the Rock?
I don't think so, no.
House on the Rock is a place that I went that blew my mind, Zach. It was some old rich guy in the past made it, and it turned into a museum. It's a museum of oddities. It does include the house that is on a rock, but then it is also a bunch of crazy stuff. It's got a huge carousel. It's got a bunch of like automatons that you put tokens into, and they do crazy things. It's got a number of wild stuff. Like it's I think one of my favorite museums, even though it's not really a museum. It's one of my favorite museums I've ever been to. It's about 3 hours from Chicago, where I'm at. It's probably farther for you. But if you are interested in weird stuff, I have to say, House on the Rock is a wonderful destination to visit.
Man, I'm looking at some of the pictures of this, and it is crazy to look at. It's just
it's crazy,
wildly different things.
Because there's a hall of music where like you walk in, and every corner you turn, there's a giant room that is just a bunch of automaton instruments that are sometimes manned by mannequins, and you put a token in, and they play a song for you. This is like what they used to do before the internet. They would just build rooms that did music. There's like a huge whale fighting a squid.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
Giant.
There's Heritage of the Sea section that has over 200 model ships, a Titanic display, and a 200-foot tall sea creature that's as long as the Statue of Liberty is tall.
It's so big. And there's also the main thing that I think people talk about is the carousel. There's a huge carousel you walk into, and it's like the biggest carousel you've ever seen. And also in that room, there are hundreds upon hundreds of, I guess, things that would be on a carousel. There's like bolted to the ceiling and the walls. It's just a wild place. It's a crazy thing that I have to recommend people go see.
Music of Yesterday, Streets of Yesterday,
Streets of Yesterday was crazy.
Tribute to Nostalgia, Asian Garden. Man, they have all kinds of stuff. This would be really cool to see. If it just continue to
expand. Yeah, I think you would really like it, actually. It takes like 2.5 to 3 hours to get through it all. It's kind of like an IKEA in that, like, you go in and you're kind of just going down the line. There's not really exploring. It's not like they have different exhibits. Like, you're kind of just continuing on the path. And eventually you're spit out into what I would describe as a very small gift shop. I feel like they could really make a lot of money by having more gifts, but it's just like one room, and there are some like t-shirts and sweaters and like mugs. But I feel like they could go crazy on the gift shop. But it is kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's in a place called Spring Green, Wisconsin. But I loved it. And I feel like if there's a reason for you to pass by it, you have to check it out. But I would allocate at least like 3 or 4 hours to get through it all.
Yeah, this is crazy.
House on the Rock.
Might add this to my list of things to do at some point.
I will, after we get done recording, this is not for the audience, but after we get done recording, I'm going to show you some videos I took from there, and I think you're going to be delighted.
Yeah, I will be. This looks awesome.
I did also go to the Wisconsin Dells.
I have been to the Dells before. The Dells are fun.
The Dells are pretty fun. I went to 2 different animal exhibits. I went to a zoo as well as a deer park.
Yeah, the Dells is like, it's like very touristy. There are like little go-kart places everywhere, and they have like water parks, indoor water parks, outdoor water parks. Like everywhere you go, there's like some sort of like touristy attraction there. So the Wisconsin Dells is definitely a fun place to be.
But that's all from me.
Well, do you have any parting wisdom?
My parting wisdom is to go to the house on the rock, I would say.
A good piece of advice. And on that note, join us again next week when we get to talk about the Switch 2.
Yes, we'll talk about the Switch 2, and we'll talk about all of the, well, not the Microsoft, but we'll talk at least about the Summer Games Fest. Yeah, it'll be a big show next week.
It'll be a big show, very fun. Looking forward to it. But on that note, follow the podcast on YouTube Music, and Spotify, and Audible. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.